What's going on, friends and family? Welcome to another episode review of AEW. Well, if you guys didn't know, I have COVID. I'm joking. But still, what happened on this episode? The Inner Circle returned. Christian made his debut. And a breakup of a major, and I'm saying that in like, if I had four arms, saying in major quotation marks of a faction. So, Christian Cage debuted in a pretty good but dragged match. Like, flew over in the ring, decent reversals. I thought there was way too many reversals over for the kill switch. A good back neck breaker, a jumping neck breaker, a slingshot leg drop that always looks impressive. Kazarian moved well, and I thought it was a decent match. But I thought that there's barely any orchestrated build over for this match, because you'd think this would be highly more advertised. Over Christian's 7 years, he hasn't been in ring action. So I thought that was a bit poorly executed. The match overall was good, but too long. Especially for an opening match, you should have it for at least 5 to 10 minutes. 15 if you have it later in the show. Over 20 if you're doing a main event. You don't waste your time with the opening match of the show. You make it good. You make it decent to fast to impactful to a storyline. You do not waste time with the opening of the show. You need to catch everybody's attention, or at least have the match look fun. There's also an exhibition match involving QT Marshall against Cody Rhodes. No one cares about QT Marshall. Your family don't care about QT Marshall making a name over himself. He's 35 and he looks like he's in his 40s, hating his teacher job. You suck. You have no look, no definable look. You look like you coach and tough enough. You, in the definability of his build breaking apart from the Nightmare Family kind of has been apparent since, technically, if I don't watch Dark, I would say since Revolution of February. And going over the build that we had him breaking apart consistently from Dustin Rhodes, not helping out most of the young guys like Lee Johnson or Dustin whenever they get jumped, and casually trying to outshadow himself from the Nightmare Family and and then you have always the best booking decision ever. You make the young guys look the bad guys next to the grizzled veterans that have most of the control in the company. That always works well. That always looks good over your veteran breaking apart. And this is decent storytelling, but the wrong guy. If it was Dustin, I would actually care. Because Dustin always looks like a team guy, uh, always there over to support his family or young guys in the company. And it's just more believable. Plus, people know who he is. It just would be more effect than goddamn QT Marshall. They had to put this over picture-in-picture commercial break, and it was so slow and monotonous. There was also Jade Cardell calling herself that bitch. She cussed. She cussed. I mean, she has at least. I can understand where certain guys are reviewing Dynamite. They can say Jade Cardell looks like she has that it factor, even though she's not that overly experienced around the ring. You can see that she looks like a star, builds over like she's a top athlete, and has a certain persona about herself, but she doesn't have that much experience in the ring. I'm at least trying to have some optimism, as much as I don't care, because we barely have that many stars in the women's division anyway. The Hikaru Shida is irrelevant. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker is the only people creating some relevance over for the women's division, because currently they're unsanctioned matches, the only conversation talking about. Because if you're not busting yourself open or hurting yourself, you're not really doing much to get your own show over, isn't it? And somehow over this match, I didn't even know this was a lumberjack match, but this felt like an orchestrated heel turn because I had the entire Nightmare Family really concerned about QT Marshall versus Dustin Rhodes. I mean Cody Rhodes. It was pretty stupid. Ugh. I think there's an arm drag, and they started pushing this over outside until QT hits Arn Anderson, and it ended up with a brawl involving the young guys from the, the Nightmare Factory, and so it ends in a no contest with only Red Velvet, not Hangman, not the guys from the outside of the ring. I mean, that are like barricaded ringside that can literally help out their own VP. I can understand why his wife can't be there, but it just makes the downplayment of QT turning heel like stupid, and no one's really that compelled anyway. I'm really not that cared that the Gun Club, Lee Johnson, and Dustin Rhodes got hurt, and Red Velvet was the only person to come. Red Velvet would get her ass beat later on backstage with a big boot by Jade Cargill. I mean, look at her towering above the chick, just big booting her with heels. That looked painful as hell. So, I gotta say, I'm not that compelled over with the heel turn. I don't really care because now we're in this momentum that like Cody is the Sting of AEW, that everybody that he gets close with turns on him in some way, like they did with MJF back at Double or Nothing. Was it Double or Nothing? I thought it was Full Gear. That after he lost the world title, MJF turned on him. And now it's QT Marshall. So it's a cycle. Everybody hating Cody because they don't want to be in his shadow. Except MJF is actually a potential star. And QT's like a stepfather. So that's technically it. Next up, we had Moxley making a promo over hearing the injuries of uh freaking Kingston's ankle because he suffered a leg injury due to the Elite, and Moxley still feeling the effects of the barbed wire death match. And whoever this Caesar Brunani guy is, he seems to be, I guess, trying to get pushed over to the main card. I mean, the guy is 6 foot something, and he has a decent physique, but the guy has slumped shoulders, a pedo stash. Somebody keep comparing him to a guy from Baywatch if he was a pedophile. I don't know what kind of character you have, and they keep putting like JD Drake and Ryan Namath around him over the corner like they're gonna do anything over the match. And by the way, I want to let you know that Moxley was the previous world champion back in December of last year, and you have him near a 10-minute match go over a commercial break that a guy that already lost in his debut last week against Hangman Adam Page. So if he's consistently getting forced over to top guys and he consistently loses and nobody knows who the guy is, what's the point? He's just a jobber. Clothesline, there was a dragon screw, counters, it ends with the bulldog chokehold to finish the match. I don't even know why. That's like a last resort. Like I understand he can use it, but like if he uses a submission hold like that beats Brian Cage, Eddie Kingston, like you want to be suited over as a badass, you could be going ham on him, and the guy looks physique, and John Moxley looks good. Like this is a guy who goes the distance with Chris Jericho, freaking Kenny Omega, Eddie Kingston. But if you have him in the over 10-minute match against a no name of the show, it's gonna devalue your guy. That's gonna make him back over to like the mid card or something. If he's facing a no name on your show, you make him a squash match. If it's a mid carder, you can do an average 5 minutes. If it's a top guy, you can do over 15 or 20. That's how it should be, man. I don't like this type of stuff. We also had one of my favorite segments of the show, because at least AEW, they'll make a mediocre show, but they'll give me one good segment. MJF gives a gift over to the Pinnacle. I think they were like redecorating a locker room, mocking over the inner circle and making fun of Chris Jericho. And then out of nowhere, the inner circle came over in the door like they were hiding from them or something. I guess they thought that they gave him really serious critical injuries, and the brawl was pretty fun. Eddie Santana was like with blood around his shirt over something he did over to Dax Hardwood. A lot of decent punches over by Hagar. Sammy Guevara beating the piss out of, I think it was Sean Spears, giving him a knee strike over a fireman's carry. Jericho and I think it was also Guevara or Ortiz tossing MJF over a toilet while drinking a little bit of the bubbly, like making a fool out of them. So I guess we are going to get blood and guts, even though that was supposedly supposed to be last year. Other than that, really fun brawl. Even though I don't like the sentiment that this is the basis to turn the inner circle heel, even though it's like you can turn DX heel, because even though they were annoying dickheads, the fans like DX. They find them cool. But if you're trying to make an overly like dickish heel like Chris Jericho and just potentially turn him heel over the heel turn of MJF, and then you want me to make a blood feud out of it, I will be questioning your ideas. But I gotta say, good segment. Next up, we have Don Callis interrupting Young Bucks promo over the feelings over Kenny Omega. After Nick Jackson left, they had Matt Jackson coming over talking to Don Callis, saying that, oh, you over-choosing you in Japan, he chose AEW. I don't care. I care little of this story. I care little about Don Callis and his prepubescent June, looking like a Jew porn director in the face with his little pedo shades coming around with his stupid ball spot always with his voice coming around saying that you're from Japan. That means you're important. That doesn't subsidize a star. That doesn't subsidize that you're a well-known guy. If I come up as a K-pop star, does that mean people in America are going to know me as much as BTS? No, that's not. It's stupid. It's like, hey, you're an ace intern. Like, what? And then it comes up with a slap until Matt that could just immediately kick him after slapping him in the face. Does nothing. Kenny wasn't even there to even break up a bit of the fight. So I thought that was stupid. We also had, of course, a six-man tag involving the ha ha. And it sounds like an orchestra getting an orgy. Uh, Dude, it was the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. He's from MLW and AAA. He usually shows up over at AEW, but I don't think they're ever going to sign him officially. Against Kenny Omega with his dumb gun poses with the Good Brothers that are sort of or not with the company other than affiliate with Kenny Omega because Impact. But nobody watches Impact. You can see in their ratings. And a trios match. It's a trios match. And the match was okay. I thought it was too choreographed over running over to the outside. A counter over a European uppercut. There's a running punt. This is better than the six-man tag that the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid had before, but it was another six-man tag, and it felt like it was getting orchestrated for no reason. At least last week had story. This one was just a random match. I think there was also a triple super kick, and it felt like whenever they wrestle each other and do the same move, they do nothing. They learn nothing over the move getting caught into them. You think, oh, they're gonna triple super kick him again. It's like, oh, Kenny sees it coming. It ain't like Michael Cole saying, "Oh, he caught him. He caught him. He learned from his mistake. He learned from his mistake." Oh man, bro. I think who did he fed with knees? I swear there was a lot of V triggers on Laredo Kid, but Laredo Kid dished out over a lot of offense. There was a running there was a big Phoenix splash. It ends with a one-winged angel. So they win. The point of that match was for no reason other than Moxley comes over. That's technically it. Moxley came, surprisingly, with the Young Bucks. So the Young Bucks are against Omega and the Good Brothers. So there seems to be a war. It's like I'm just not compelled over what the whole because they have a lot of big faction storylines already moving over with like the Dark Order and Hangman and stupid whatever the Inner Circle and Pinnacle are doing now. And now they want to push over this civil war like Young Bucks won't do what the Elite are doing. I'm not compelled, bro. So we're possibly gonna have a 6-man tag next week involving Moxley and the Young Bucks against the Good Brothers and Kenny. That's what I'm anticipating over all this stuff. We also have, of course, Ty Conti, and I have to say it so I have to abbreviate it as such, so I don't say Ty Conti. Damn it! And Hikaru Shida against Nyla Rose and Ali. And Ali looks good as hell. I'm not gonna lie, she looks like she could be a future model. Same thing with Tai Conti. Hikaru Shida should be a nice, favorable star, but I feel like she has no personality, unlike Asuka. I'm not even trying to be like a WWE fanboy or some crap. I'm just saying, like you can tell the way Asuka behaves. You can tell what type of person she is. Hikaru Shida's just some weirdo, weeaboo Japanese chick with a kendo stick. And Nyla Rose was there, even though she just dropped out over to Ty Conti the last week. They had. Oh, by the way, they also I didn't want the centerpiece just before. I should have went by this in the beginning. Like they had Darby Allin in the segment involving Sting involving Money Matt Hardy. Even though like didn't Lance Archer interrupt your interviews twice? Why are you concerned about what Money Matt does? And why is Darby Allin supposedly a midget lone wolf character affiliating with Sting all because he has some type of respect for him? That makes very little sense. I don't like the direction of the character they have for Darby Allin on this thing. It just makes me feel discontent that Darby Allin's just another weirdo babyface. And he's the TNT champion. And I feel like he's just not facing guys like, or even in the top 10 ranking because they don't care about the top 10 ranking. It's just a fake ploy to differ from the company, even though you guys are still going to make the story oriented. So it makes the sport based anything be BS. Because if it was the case, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Lance Archer, or at least Cody should be getting shots immediately with the TNT and the world champion, other than Joey Janela, Matt Sydal, and John Silver. I mean, John Silver, I can make a character out of that because the guy he's undersized, but he's funny. He looks funny, and at least he goes to the gym. I can make a character out of that than Darby Allin that just feels more indie, and of course, Orange Cassidy. So that's at least my opinion on that. Back into the match. Uh, Decent exploder suplexes. There's a big backbreaker over by Ty Conti. The Dark Order were trying to separate the Hardy, I forgot what he called it, the Hardy family office from around ringside. And Ali picks up the victory after there was a kendo stick that she snuck in over a distraction involving Vicky Guerrero. And she gets the rapid hole. Oh my god. What the Other than that, Ali picks up over the win, so Nyla Rose redeems her loss from Ty Conti. That's all I can say, so I guess they're going to do something involving Nyla Rose, the Butcher and Blade, Matt Hardy, the Private Part. Oh my god, that's so stupid. And over what I was thinking over most of the show, the only thing I was thinking of was, wait, are they making the Arcade BS be the main event? It's the main event. Oh god, this sucked. This was so blah. You could, like you say, the match was good. I mean, the match was good. Okay, how? All right, Kip Sabian and Miro against Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy and I'm trying not to repeat this, an Arcade Anarchy match. DDT's over with the outside. There was hits over with the arcade machine, especially over the claw machine. Big boots, running clothesline. Miro looking like a freaking wrecking machine. After this, he better go to solos. I don't want to see him with Kip Sabian again. He is way too out of his league. Miro looks like a star. He should be having a hot woman like Penelope Ford to manage him. Not not with Kip Sabian. He's too much cuck looking. He barely did much over in the match except toss Orange Cat, or I think the other way around. Tossed him for some cardboard stuff. They also had like a prize table over there where they were grabbing chairs. I'm shocked nobody used the AEW title belt toy that they had. Everything was about to get one-sided. Orange Cassidy and Chuck were laid out. Chuck looked terrible, by the way. Trent, wearing the jeans and bandana, came back with his mother in his van. Oh, wow. So, like, if you're showing this to a casual audience, they're going to say, oh, wow, this is a man-child, an overgrown man-child pro wrestler, literally getting dropped off by his mother with a van. The guy looks like a built hobo coming around getting drove by his mother. Like, that's not cool, man. Trent comes around, helping out Miro over the ring stage, tossing over Kip Sabian over a table, and finishing over Miro. I think there was also a Superman punch. And yeah, the best friends pick up the victory. The feud with the war between Kip Sabian and Miro against the best friends has finally ended over no one's like appeal. At least Trent is back, so at least that's cool. Do I really care? No, not really. At least the feud's over with. The only thing that got me, like, at least somewhat entertained was Christian's debut match, but I thought it dragged. They had way too long a match for John Moxley against Caesar Bunani, even though the Bunani's a jobber. But in the Pinnacle and MJF, Pinnacle and Inner Circle brawl was one of the funnest highlights of the night, and an obvious rewatch. So there, I got positives. Other than that, it was a mediocre show in my opinion. If you guys think differently, comment down in the comment section below. Love to hear what you guys got to say. Other than that, that's it coming from the DST show, and I want to thank you for watching.